There is something about the Tai Chi curriculum that you might not know. Oh, you might know about the forms and the breath work and the energy work and the silk reeling exercises and the two-person exercises and the mental and physical conditioning, the core training, the medical therapeutic applications, the martial applications, the throws, the joint locks, the pressure point control, the esoteric blindfolded training, the forms competition, the combative sport aspects, and so on. But do you really know what Tai Chi is made of? Hello, I am very tired. In this episode, we will talk about what Tai Chi is made of. If you ask some people what Tai Chi is made of, they will say, oh, you take some water and sugar and milk and some black tea leaves and cardamom and ginger and perhaps some cinnamon and some fennel. But that would only be correct if we were talking about chai tea. And it wouldn't really be correct to talk about chai tea because that's redundant, because chai means tea. So when you say chai tea, you're actually saying tea. And so it's redundant. But I digress. I do that sometimes. I digress. In fact, I think that my students may find that to be one of my more endearing qualities. You see, my digressions are actually a feature of my pedagogy. They're part of the way that I teach. You see, when I am teaching a Tai Chi or a Qigong or a martial arts class, sometimes my students will be working on something that requires so much focus and effort that their concentration starts to become consternation, and working any harder would be counterproductive. And that is when I will deliberately talk about something completely unrelated and lead my students on a bit of a shaggy dog story for a few minutes, and then come around to the topic at hand, but from a completely refreshing new direction. I feel that that really helps to reinforce those neural pathways and helps the students to learn faster and to remember better. But even on those rare occasions when my digressions seem to get a little out of hand, it can lead to some very interesting and useful lessons. In fact, I remember one time when I digressed so much that we didn't get back onto the topic again until we were all speaking Klingon. Yeah. You see, I have been in the habit of beginning my classes with a formal standard Chinese greeting. I begin with a palm fist salute and I say, Tong Shui Men Hao, which is Chinese for hello, fellow students. And the students respond with Lao Shi Hao, which means hello, teacher. It's a simple thing, but when a famous Chinese master comes to visit our school, it helps to present the illusion that my students have good manners and that they might know what they are doing. So, one day, just for fun, I replaced the standard Chinese greeting with Hou Jue Mei Kek, which is Klingon for students prepare for battle. Most of my students just responded with the conditioned response, Lao Shi Hao. But one student paused for a moment and then said, which, of course, is Klingon for my hovercraft is full of eels. Of course, this drew raucous laughter from all of the Klingon-speaking Monty Python fans in the class. And it led to a very insightful discussion about the comparisons between Oriental martial cultures and Klingon warrior culture and how they are expressed in the language. And that if you want to really understand a culture, it's a very good idea to learn their martial art. Oh, speaking of Monty Python, did you know that John Cleese was once offered the equivalent of a knighthood by the Klingon High Council? It's true. He was declared a Nahar Master after his glorious battle against the city of Palmerston North in New Zealand, in which he forced them to name the local landfill after him. They called it Mount Cleese, because apparently that is what everyone wanted to do after the battle. Mount Cleese. Anyway, but Cleese rejected the Klingon title for two reasons. One of which I won't get into in detail, but just let's say that it involved an unfortunate altercation between Cleese and members of the Order of the Daughters of Kailash. But the main reason why he rejected the title was because he was frustrated by the fact that the Klingons refused to learn how to pronounce his name correctly. And, for heaven's sake, he said, it's pronounced Cleese, like cheese. I could not go through life being referred to as the High Master John Cleese. But I'm getting off the topic. Back to the thing about the language. We were comparing 14 tonal dialects of a language like Chinese with the approximately 80 polyguttural dialects of Klingon. Although some people were arguing that Chinese really shouldn't be classified as a real language, but that's beside the point. It was then that one of my students pointed out that instead of saying, he could have just said, and this brought up the fact that the Klingon language is one that is based entirely on an adaptive syntax, comparing that to the partially adaptive syntax of Chinese. Now, this led me to point out that the Tai Chi curriculum itself is less adaptive under some cultural and linguistic contexts than it is under others. So, see, for centuries, Tai Chi styles have been guarded secrets, passed on through families from generation to generation. But no two people will do the style exactly the same way. And each person will change it to suit their needs and abilities and understanding. And on those rare occasions when the art passed from one family to a completely different family, a distinctive new style would be created due to the different experiences and circumstances. And over the centuries, Tai Chi styles have mixed with other martial arts, like Xing Yi Quan and Ba Gua Zhang and Yi Quan, and have been influenced by many, many different styles of martial art. Some famous Tai Chi masters were also masters of Shaolin Kung Fu, or wrestlers, or sword masters. And some were doctors and generals and aristocrats or farmers, and they all had their own unique perspectives on the art. So Tai Chi is, in fact, a mixed martial art, historically. Now, teachers will adapt the curriculum to suit their students. Now, if I am teaching an octogenarian Canadian who has just heard about Tai Chi for the first time, then I will not be teaching them the same curriculum that would be learned by perhaps, say, a 5-year-old in Chen Village who is practicing 6 hours a day on the same street where the style has been practiced for 20 generations. In some places, the style adapts to become more standardized, and this is good. So these places become touchstones where serious students from around the world can go to discover the essence and origins of a style and to see what happens when you practice this way full-time for decades. But even in these places, the art will change and refine itself over time. And the individual masters do, thanks to the nature of the art and people, transcend the structure of the style. So, as Tai Chi spreads throughout the world, it changes and mutates. And some of these changes will be tested, and some will not. Some that are tested will survive, and some will not. I have learned 8 different versions of Yang-style Tai Chi, 5 different versions of Chen-style Tai Chi, 2 different versions of Wu-style Tai Chi, and I've also studied Wu-style, the other Wu-style, Sun-style, and Zhaobao-style, and other styles that I dare not name. I've also learned from different martial arts from 6 different continents. And all of this research has informed or corrupted what I teach. I also teach different types of Qigong and Neigong, and all of these influence my curriculum. Now, some of what I teach has been thoroughly tested. Some of it, not so much or not yet. Oh, I have experimented a lot, but that is not the same as getting tested. Anyway, so what I teach to my students is designed for them, not for me. So the art that I teach is not the art that I practice. For me, as a teacher, the real test of a curriculum is how well it benefits the individual student. What was I talking about? Well, I'll figure it out and I'll get back to you in episode 3. Thank you. 同学们再见。